Hello, everybody. Hope everyone's having a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening, depending where you are. Uh, Horror VMs. That's what we're doing today. Welcome in, Mochi. Welcome in, Ray. Thank you again for popping in to say that you love me. um, sorry, I just ate something 15 minutes ago, so my throat's still all dinner time kind of mode. Anyway, so tonight's gonna be yesterday was a weird variety hour. Meanwhile, this is a scheduled variety hour, so I actually know what I'm doing this time. So it's not gonna be me hemming and hawing as I'm trying to figure out what game I'm gonna play next. This time I actually have games I want to play, and it's 3 of them. So I know that 2 of them are pretty short, but I don't know. We're just gonna see how this goes. This is the one I have up right now is the only one I don't know the exact length of. Likely story. What do you mean likely story? It's true. I actually planned this. I know I don't usually plan things, but look, this is rare for me. You know what I mean? Hey, okay. Anyway, so all these are horror themed, not Otome games. This is not Otome. I think only one of them could potentially be qualified as Otome. This is Girls Love, and so one's Girls Love. It's the one I have up right now. One is probably Otome, and the last one is Otome. Automato, 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 automate. Kudasai. Yeah, it must be this might be a surprise for some people because Yamete kudasai. Yamete. Yeah, because this first one I know for a fact this is Yandere Girls Love, themed around fairy tales. That's all I know about it, is that it's yanderes, there's girls, and there's fairy tales. That's all I fucking know. So I don't know if I'm definitely not getting all the endings for this one. I'm just gonna go and experience it, and whenever I feel like moving on to the next one, we're gonna move on to the next one. This isn't a 100% stream of It Gets So Lonely here. It's funny because I actually really don't like yandere as a romantic trope, but I love it in horror tropes. So since it's marketed as a horror game, I'm oh yeah, bring on the horrifying shit. I love that. I just don't like yandere when it's framed as the romantic option, because I'm yo, this makes me really uncomfortable. But if it's in horror, then I'm oh shit, this is really creepy. I'm loving it. So let's get started. It Gets So Lonely here. You're running through a forest. It is late at night and the sky is black as pitch. I got an achievement that says, who knows what might be waiting for you. Oh shit. There's nothing to light your way save for the moon's milky glow, but its rays cannot reach you, not properly. Trees which surround you, jutting out of the earth like eerie monuments to a foreign god, are blotting out most of the light. You cannot see where you are going. Even if you had commenced your flight at a more sensible hour, however, with the light of the sun to aid you, it would be of little use. You do not know where you're going. You have no map, no route, no plan. You You are running like a frightened animal, anxious and nervy, with no destination in mind. You have no desire, as you run, save to escape. You cannot let yourself be caught. If that were to happen, you are certain that you would be ruined. You have no choice, therefore, but to keep going, on and on and on, though your feet are screaming at you for mercy. You have no idea how long you have been running. Time has begun to blend together. It has lost all meaning. Something sharp snags at the hem of your skirt, but you do not have the luxury to pause and examine what has happened. Instead, you tug. Your skirt tears, the sound splitting through the forest, and you stumble forwards with a shocked gasp. You are free, but at what cost? Your skirt has been irrevocably damaged. It may be too late to worry about such trivial matters now, though. If you do not start running again, and soon, she will catch you. Then, your life will be over. You do not know if she is still following you, but you do not want to risk looking over your shoulder. If you were to see her, silhouetted beneath a tree, looking at you with that sickly sweet smile which once ensnared you, you would lose what little nerve you possess. Your legs would lock up and your blood would freeze in your veins. Then, you would crumble. You would fall, but you would not hit the ground. She would be there to catch you. Did she not promise, when you made that contract, that you would never be alone? You would like to take back that silly wish of yours, but it is too late for that. It is too late for a lot of things. All you can do is run. You run and run and run while icy fog swirls about your feet. It is cold enough to sap the heat from your body, and you shudder from it. It feels as though you are drowning. It feels as though you're being buried alive. Your knees and your shins, meanwhile, are bleeding. You cannot endure much more of this. But if you value your own life, you must. You run and you run and you run and you run until, at long last, you reach a fork in the road. There are 3 paths which split off through the forest. Well, 4, if you count the path from which you came. You cannot exactly double back on yourself, though. Not when you have put so much effort into running forwards. You can only press on. The 3 paths are signposts, which is something of a strange sight given you are so deep in the forest. Dark though it might be, you have grown accustomed to the shadows. You can just about pick out the writing in this old dilapidated signpost, curved and slanted though it is. Your fate, if you forgive me for sounding cliche, is in your hands. Now I wonder, which path will you take? Okay, so we have... I'm assuming we're choosing between our yandere love interests here. I don't know, let me see. The castle sounds like a Dracula vibe. I'm gonna go there. All right, let's go to the castle. So you want to go to the castle? Good idea. All decent fairy tales tend to conclude in castles once their beleaguered, put-upon heroines are finally able to wed the handsome princes they once dreamed of. Why bother trying your luck with the shore, which may very well be deserted, or the village, which will be full of dirty, barefoot peasants? It is far better to skip the suffering and go straight to the grand finale. Holy shit! That is very astute of you. I did not realize you had it in you to be so mercenary. I can only wonder what you will uncover during your moonlight meanderings. The night is far from over, and your adventures are only just beginning. I hope that you have brushed up in your curtsies. They might come in handy when one is interacting with a sovereign. Royals can be temperamental, after all. If you fail to treat them with the prerequisite amount of respect, you might come to regret it. I love the writing here. This is cute. You follow the path which leads to the castle, supporting yourself on weary, aching legs which feel ready, at a moment's notice, to detach from your hips. You're a little more than a wisp of a girl, but you have been running for so very long, and your feet are so very numb, and you feel like a great lumbering thing, clumsy and ungainy. The soles of your feet are screaming at you. You need to lie down, and quickly. You only hope, as you continue to run, that you will find a spare room available for you in the castle. You do not know what exactly will await you at the castle, but you have visions, as you run, of a vast opulent dwelling. This dwelling will surely be full of finely furnished rooms in which you might rest your weary head. There must also be a king and queen inside this castle, you ponder, who will be kind and wise. And what of their children? What of a princess? Every good castle must possess a princess who will take pity on you in your plight. You can imagine the face of this generous princess with ease, thanks to the fairy tales you read in abundance as a small child. The princess will be fair of hair and blue of eye, with soft pink lips pursed like rosebuds. Her limbs will be slender, her hands dainty and unsullied from physical labor, and her sensibilities will be sweeter than marzipan. She will be kind to you, and compassionate, just like an older sister. You do not know what older sisters are like, though, or younger sisters for that matter. You were only guessing. You are not a complete fool, however, despite your tendency to daydream, and you do have a few reservations. Monarchs do not, as you know from voracious reading, have the best track record when it comes to caring for the peasantry. Was there not a very famous queen who once said, with a cavalier wave of her hand, that the hungry peasants in her kingdom should content themselves with cake if bread was not an option? You think that this might be a misquote, but the point still stands. The royals are supposed to grant their subjects succor in their time of need. This does not always happen. In fact, it very rarely happens. Kings and queens and princesses and princes are just people, at the end of the day, and they are subject to the same caprices that the humans are. They can also be careless and selfish and inconsiderate. There's no guarantee that this mystical princess of your imagination will help you. Why, there's no guarantee that this mystical princess exists at all. Still, you must try. It is this hope which keeps you going. You continue to run to the castle. It takes some time before you finally emerge from the woods, but finally you do it. How much time, you ask? I cannot answer that. Did I not say that time had begun to lose all its meaning? The forest is behind you now, at least, and all the awful nightmares which dwelt within it. It is still cold, though, and foggy, and very, very dark. The sun has yet to rise. You can see the moon more clearly now, though, as it hangs above your head, round as any pearl or orb or crystal ball. The moonlight shines down upon the castle, which looms in front of you like a cliffside. The stone edifice of the building is imposing, and it drowns you in shadows, darker than the depths of the deepest oceans. The castle is not all dark, though, not like the night skies above it. When you crane your head, you can see that there are lights flickering within, in the narrow, slitted windows. It would appear that somebody is home. The king and the queen, perhaps. What of their servants? What, perhaps, more pressingly, of their guards? You half expect, as you stand there, that armored knights will accost you for daring to approach the castle of King and Queen so-and-so. Do you not know your place, foolish peasant girl with the dirty skirt? Begone with you! You are not, of course, a peasant. Your family is a wealthy one, or rather, they were before your father made a series of poor financial decisions. You do not look like a young lady right now, though, with your dirty face and your dirty skirt, which is torn at the hem. If any guards were to take you for a vagrant, it would not be surprising. But, though you stand there dithering, your filthy fingers hooked in front of you, your filthy skirt, you do not hear any cries. Nobody sounds the alarm. Lights might be on the inside of the castle, but there's nobody outside of its perimeter standing sentry. There is nobody to impede your entry, and the elaborate iron gates which are set into the vast stone walls about the castle's exterior are open, just a crack. It would be a trivial matter to slip inside. There's nobody to stop you. Why are you trembling now, you silly thing? You have come so very far, it would be an act of foolishness to turn around now. Go on, go. You inhale, perhaps in an attempt to screw up your courage, which has, at long last, begun to fail you. And then you step forwards. You slide between the wrought iron gates, as stealthy and as secretive as a thief, then cross the path which leads up to a tall, imposing structure. The domed doorway which leads you into the castle itself, hewn from stone, is closed, but at the push of your palm it swings inwards. The door creaks alarmingly as it opens, the sound loud enough to split the silence like a thunderclap. You inhale at this and glance around, your eyes darting hither and thither. If there are any guards posted about the castle's grounds, they should all have been alerted by that sound. Will they come for you, at long last? What will happen should they catch you? Will they throw you into the dungeons? That doesn't sound like a pleasant way to spend the night. At least you would have a roof over your head, though, and you would not have to keep walking. Your feet really do ache. You stand there for an indeterminate amount of time, your heart pounding a panicked, irregular rhythm at the base of your throat. But no matter how much time elapses, no guards come. You are thankful for your good luck, though it does make you wonder, where is everybody? Why, it is almost as if all the people in the world have disappeared. Could you be the very last human left alive? You frown, then press your palm back against the door. You push less cautiously this time, heedless of the loud sound which splits the silence. There's no point in worrying about the guards, not when they might very well be non-existent. Your entry to the castle secured, you then take a step forwards. The door swings shut behind you, and the resultant slam makes you jump. You did not expect it. Your heart knocks against your ribs and, with wild eyes, you glance about. You are standing in a vast entrance hall made of stone which splits off into a number of passages. At the very end of the hall, meanwhile, there's a large, elaborate staircase, one which seems to extend to the heavens themselves. It is dark inside the hall. There are numerous torches set in sconces on the stone wall, which are aflame. They offer some relief from the shadow. It feels like I'm DMing right now. Like, I'm really loving the writing, but it feels like I'm reading out like a DM script for a D&D campaign. It might be because like Geese actually gifted me a like campaign book for D&D, and I kind of want to read it and try and do a D&D campaign, which I've only done one D&D campaign as a player, so it's gonna be fun if I round up people to do that. But yeah, it just feels like a campaign. I feel like I'm mocking a player. You can hear the faint sound of the wind indoors as it moans against the castle's impervious walls, but you cannot hear any footsteps. You cannot hear any voices. You cannot, more importantly, hear any people. Maybe the castle is empty. If that is the case, though, then who lit the torches? It's a curious conundrum. You muster up what remains of your courage and cry out, addressing the empty hall in a timorous voice which fails to properly fill up the space. "Hello," you say, your eyes wide. "Is anybody there?" Your voice echoes through a vast empty hall, but is met yet again with silence. You cannot say you are too surprised, but it's somewhat disappointing. Not one to be deterred, you try again and again, your voice growing louder with each subsequent attempt. No matter how loud your voice, however, it fails to reach any ears. If anybody is here, they do not seem to be particularly sociable. That, or perhaps they simply cannot hear you. Could they be in another room? Yes, that must be it. You'll never find that pretty fairy tale princess of your imagination if you stand idle, you know? It's time to get to work. Put those legs of yours to good use. Not knowing what else to do, is there anything else you can do? You begin to explore. You've examined the rooms first on the ground floor of the castle, which are of a similar scale to the impressive entrance hall, large and richly furnished, but utterly unoccupied. After some time of aimless meandering, encountering nobody save the ghosts of eons past memorialized on portraits upon the walls, you muster the courage to ascend to the second floor. This floor too you examine, wandering through a seemingly endless series of hallways until, at long last, you find a door which is ajar. From between the crack in the door and the jamb, you see the flickering light. Irregular, yes, but it is light nonetheless. Could it be from a fireplace? That would suggest then that this room is occupied, unlike all the others. Perhaps the kindly princess you dreamed of will be awaiting you in this room. It is with a trembling hand you press your palm against the door. You push it. Then you step inside the bedchamber which unveils itself to you. Shyly, you stand at the threshold of the chamber, much to your courage extinguished, and gasp. The bedroom itself is gorgeous. It is a chamber so luxuriant that not even shadows can obscure the fine craft of the furniture within it, nor the rich patterns in the walls. It is the girl inhabiting the chamber, however, who truly takes your breath away. Oh shit! Sitting upon the velveteen sheets of the towering four-poster is a girl in a sumptuous red gown who seems to be of a like age to you. You do not have a clear view of the girl's face. Her head is bowed, her gaze directed downwards at her lap. You can tell from her hair, however, and from her slender calves, which protrude from beneath the hem of her dress, that she is very pretty. The girl's hair is golden, just like freshly cut wheat, but it is the red of her dress which truly captivates your attention. She is so striking you cannot look away from her. What? Immediately switching to the fucking baby doll. No, I'm not like that. The girl is not alone in her chamber either. She has a companion. This companion is not so endearing as she. In her lap, perched upon her velvet skirt, is a doll. The doll's hair, like that of her mistress's, is golden, though much of it is hidden beneath the bonnet. The girl is adjusting the china teacup held in the doll's tiny hand, while the rim of the cup glints in the light which exudes from the fireplace. If the girl is of a similar age to you, it seems strange that she would content herself by playing with dolls. Is she not too old for— I think I know where this is going. Is she not too old for that? I've consumed enough Diabolical Lovers content to know where this is going. Uh-oh. This girl will be more at home, you decide, at a ball. wearing an extravagant gown, speaking with noble gentlemen, wealthy noblemen, perhaps even princes. She should not be sitting in what you presume is her bedchamber, adjusting a teacup in the doll's hand. But you are not afforded much more time to stand there, marveling at the girl because she turns. She raises her head. Then her eyes meet yours. You thought the girl pretty when you first observed her, sitting on the edge of her plush velveteen bed examining her doll. Now she is looking at you, however. Her face is illuminated by the flames in the grate. You can see that you were mistaken. She's not just pretty. She's beautiful. So much so it is breathtaking. She looks as though she stepped out of the pages of a picture book. She's simply too perfect to belong to this world. Perhaps she is some kind of vision, a waking dream, a hallucination. But no, she is none of those things. The doll in her lap is a cold, hard thing made of porcelain. It is unflinchingly, reassuringly real. If she were a mirage, surely she would not be able to handle physical objects such as this. It is strange, though. The doll, though immaculately made, looks oddly imperfect when compared to the girl holding it. She's so startlingly beautiful, she even puts man-made representations of feminine charms to shame. The sight of her makes you feel rather weak. You always have had a fondness for fair maidens, haven't you? You are rather hopeless when it comes to them, even worse than a knight errant from a courtly legend. Your aesthetic appreciation is not particularly ladylike, but, well, it's not every day a girl encounters an elegant beauty like this, attired in red, illuminated by the firelight. I suppose I can forgive you for this rudeness, as too can the girl. She does not seem to be the type to hold a grudge. Oh, the girl says, in a voice that's surprisingly enough far less refined than her appearance. It's good to see you. I've been waiting. Has she? That's news to you. You blink, perplexed, a response on the tip of your tongue, but you are unable to expel it into the ether. The girl is sending her doll aside. Then she stands, the hem of her dress swishing about her legs. Nimbly, like a ballerina, she canvases the space between you. The room is so very large, there's quite a lot of space, then takes her hands into her own. You must, the girl says, her eyes aglow with excitement, be my new lady's maid. It has been a while, but it's such a relief that you finally arrived. I knew you would. You never leave me alone, not when you knew how long I was waiting. Oh, I'm so happy. The girl's mood is contagious, so much so you find yourself being swept away in it. You are tempted to accept any identity she might press upon you. You've never been a maid before, but you might not mind being this girl's maid. She does not seem to be a poor mistress to serve, not if she's always this kind. You cannot mask the confusion, however, which flickers across your face. You're not a good enough actress, and in any case, this is all happening too quickly. Why, you barely know this girl. Why is she being so very familiar? It is with this blank, bovine eyes that you examine the girl. Your befuddlement is pronounced enough that even the girl, despite her good mood, notices it. She frowns. Then she says, her fingers sliding away from your own. Or am I mistaken? Are you not my new lady's maid after all? The disappointment in the girl's face is abundant, so much so your heart clenches. You do not know her. She's still a stranger, but you are struck, all of a sudden, with the intense desire to appease her. You do not want to let her down. The thought is devastating. You were not aware, you tell her, that you had applied to be her maid, but if that is what she wills, you would not be opposed to it. You pray that she forgives you, though, for your discombobulation. You come from a distant country, and you have traveled for many miles. You do not know where you are, and you do not know who she is. What? You don't know who I am? It is regrettable, you tell her, but no, you do not know her. That is no fault of her own. Why, you have spent such a long time running, you hardly even know yourself. Ah, so you're a fugitive then from another country, I see. I won't pry into your past then, if you'd rather forget about it. I don't mind sharing my past with you, though. Everybody in this country knows who I am, after all, or at least they should. Now, this is quite the impressive boast. If it were to come from the lips of another, you would find it unpleasantly arrogant. You do not think, however, that this girl is trying to show off. You get the feeling instead that she is merely telling the truth. If you don't have the pleasure of knowing me, then allow me to do the honors. My father and my mother were the king and queen of this realm, and I am its princess. I've lived in this castle all my life, so I don't know much about the outside world. But I know that other countries do exist out there.
I presume it's from one of these foreign countries that you come from. It is very good to meet you. I've always wanted to talk to somebody from overseas. It feels like quite the opportunity.
The girl giggles at this, and you smile in response. You tell her, unthinkingly, that it is your pleasure, really, to meet her. Or at least you mean to. You only get halfway through this remark when the full gravity of what the girl has told you sinks in. Come to a stop. Then you stare. Did she just say that she was a princess?
Yeah, that's right. I'm a princess. And one day I'll be a queen after I've done a little growing up. My ministers don't think I'm ready to run the country just yet, but I've been doing my best at my lessons. One day, I'm sure I'll be the best queen there ever was.
So she really is a princess. That makes sense, you suppose, given that she lives in a castle, but it comes as a surprise regardless. You hadn't known before you entered this chamber that you were trespassing on a lady of such great renown. Why, if she willed it, she could have you executed for your carelessness. An ugly red flush creeps on your face, a flush which is far more lurid than the princess's dress, as you look to your feet. Bashfully, you stammer out a new address, that you're very sorry for intruding upon her, that you hope that she can forgive you.
Oh, it's all right. Think nothing of it. I don't mind, really. We all make mistakes, and anyway, you weren't to know. You said you weren't from around here.
You nod your head in silent affirmation. It isn't a complete lie. You really are not from this country. You are not from this world at all.
How wonderful. I'll look forward to picking your brain later. All of my servants come from the nearby village. Their tales are all the same, so are their superstitions. I could do with a breath of fresh air. My last lady's maid told me I was too impetuous, but I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting a bit of adventure. Not that I've ever been afforded much of that. I've been shut up here for so long, I hardly get the chance to talk to other girls my age. My last lady's maid was much older than me, and so was the one before her and the one before her.
Some of the princess's fair mood seems to dissipate as she speaks, her expression turning by degrees into something rather more pensive.
But I haven't seen any of my old lady's maids in a while, or any of the other servants for that matter. They've all disappeared.
Now that is quite curious. How could a whole household full of servants simply disappear?
That I don't know. This castle was full of servants once. My lady's maids, my undermaids, my scullery maids, and my housekeeper and my cooks, my large retinue of retainers. They're all gone now, though. I think my ministers must have sent them away. I don't know why they would have done that, though. They didn't explain it to me. But then again, they never explain anything to me. They still treat me like a little girl. It's so tiring.
She said that her ministers sent her servants away? What of her parents, the king and the queen? Would they not be the ultimate authorities in the castle's hierarchy?
They would, yes, if they were still alive. But they're not. They died a long time ago. I was raised for most of my life by my servants.
Oh, you answer. Then you flush. You hadn't known.
It's all right. No need to apologize. I'm just happy that I have you now. I was getting sick and tired of only having my dolls to speak to. They aren't the best conversational partners.
You can imagine so. Yeah. You doubt any doll, even one made by a talented artisan with an intelligent face indistinguishable from that of humans, would be very good at answering back.
Oh no, they aren't. They're hopeless at it, really. They're so stony-lipped. You have no idea how much of a relief it is to see you. This castle is so big, and without my servants, it feels so empty. It got so lonely here.
Now that is an interesting turn of phrase. Oh shit, OBS. OBS back. It catches inside your head like a burr. Have you heard it before? You do not have much time to ponder this, however, because the princess is speaking anew, in that particularly conversational manner of hers, which did not seem particularly princessy. Maybe she learned how to speak from her servants. That would explain why her consonants are so unrefined.
Oh, but listen to me. Yammering on again. It's a bad habit. I really must put a stop to it. You're probably tired, dear one, from your travels. Would you like me to show you your room?
Yes, the princess announces before you can say anything in reply.
I think I'll do just that. I might show you around the castle first, though. It's like a maze in here. I wouldn't want you getting lost. You'll be staying here for quite some time after all.
The princess then hastens to take you on a tour of her home. Fortunately, She does not show all of the rooms in her abode, neither does she offer an overly long description as to whether the few rooms she does show you are used for. She does, however, pause by the kitchens where she offers you some victuals. Once the growling in your belly has been satisfied, the princess then resumes her journey. She leads you down a dark, twisting hallway and up a series of equally dark, twisting steps until she arrives at long last before a door. The princess pushes the door aside summarily, thus permitting you entrance to a small, humble bedchamber. Hi, Dragomir, how you doing? Hope you're having a fantastic one. This chamber is not half so opulent as the grand bedroom in which the princess resides, with its resplendent four-poster and its richly patterned wallpaper. Just doing visual novels today. Doing good. How about you? I'm having a chill night. Just a lot of reading tonight. This has like a lot more dialogue than I was expecting. I was expecting like be jumping between like voices a lot more than this. But yeah, I'm enjoying the writing though. The room ceiling is not as high, and the singular bed shoved against the wall is thin and narrow. I can read aloud myself. That's I see. Any visual novels? That's what I mainly read from now. The walls are an unassuming beige, and the floor beneath your soles is of warped wood. There's a malodorous scent too, which hangs in the air, one of disuse and general decay. You get the feeling that nobody has slept in this room for quite some time. That might explain why it feels so very cold in here. Though, if the princess's tour of her castle taught you anything, it is cold in every room of her abode.
Now, here we are, the final stop of our tour. This will be your room, dear one. I hope it's to your liking.
The princess, despite her exalted status, looks somewhat uneasy as she observes you, her eyes upturned like those of a loyal dog's. Is she concerned about your reaction to this room? Perhaps she is afraid that you will turn up your nose at her kindness. For a princess, she is awfully eager to please. That is unexpected contrast between the princess's lofty title and her ingratiating attitude. She makes you smile. The room is rather scanty, yes, when it comes to its contents, but it's more than passable. It has a roof and four walls, and though it is cold, you fancy you will feel warmer once you have slipped beneath the bed sheets. The room is not so fancy as your dormitory at the conservatory, neither is it so large, but it does have one glaring improvement over your previous lodgings. You will not be expected to share it with anyone else. There's only one bed in this room, and this bed is to belong to you. You think that the peace and quiet will do you a world of good. You tell the princess as much, and she smiles.
That's good. I was worried you wouldn't like it. I know it isn't much to look at, but it's one of the nicest servants' rooms we have in the castle. Most of the maids sleep beneath the roof in this teeny tiny room, which is all cramped. There's 10 beds up there, and they're so close together, there's barely any room to pass between them. I thought it was perfectly ghastly when I saw it the last time I went up there. Not that I was supposed to be up there. It was a rainy day, so I couldn't go outdoors, so I was doing a bit of exploring. If the housekeeper had known I'd been sulking about, I don't think she would have been best pleased. Well, in any case, nobody sleeps up there anymore. The scullery maids are all gone now. I couldn't put you up there, though, in the attic, with all those empty beds. I didn't think it'd be very cheery. You're not just a scullery maid. You're my lady's maid. That means you deserve good lodgings. It'd be an insult to offer you any less than this. Now it's getting very late. You'll have to forgive me for rabbiting on. I heard it's something I tend to do. It's a bad habit, one that's unbecoming for a lady. The housekeeper's warned me enough times. You reassure the princess to the contrary, smiling as you do so. You do not mind if she talks too much. That is better than not talking at all. Her affable nature makes it easier to spend time with her. Manners be damned. You're always scolded too back in the conservatory for your behavior. You know full well how aggravating it can be to be upbraided. Not for any particular misdemeanor, but for being yourself. Well, I'm glad you understand.
The princess answers with a giggle.
I really should be off, though. It's bad manners to keep you, especially when you look so sleepy. Get some rest. We can talk more tomorrow, if you don't mind my ceaseless prattle. I'm glad they seem to appreciate it, at least. Though I'm sure you'll get tired of it eventually. All my old maids did.
The princess departs, and in her absence, you take a seat upon your bed, your new bed. You cannot help but think this is all happening very quickly.
It
does not seem like long ago you're still in the forest, running for your life amongst the tall, imposing trees with their gnarled, grasping branches. The forest might as well be a distant memory for now, though. You are indoors, inside a castle no less, and you have been given a room in which to sleep in your clothes that you might wear. It seems premature still to declare that you're out of the woods, in a metaphorical sense, I mean, but things could certainly be worse. You force yourself to stand, on legs that feel too weary to support you, and change into the night clothes hanging in the wardrobe. The night clothes do not fit you perfectly, but you're too tired to care about that. You're too tired to care about much of anything. You retreat to the bed and slide beneath the sheets. Then, you let your eyelids fall shut. You exhale, and are lulled by the breeze which blows outdoors. You fall asleep. You're so very tired. Your sleep is a deep, dark one. Darker even than the furthest abysses of the night's time. Like the nighttime sky, however, which shimmers with stars, your sleep is not devoid of those prismatic fragments you humans call dreams. Though in this case, I think your nocturnal imaginings are worth rather more than that. They are not dreams, are they, to which your slumbering mind is subjected? You know that they are not. Otherwise, your body would not be so very cold, not so clammy. The images that flicker beneath your closed eyelids, like the ghostly images in, what the fuck is that word? Phanakoscope, were not conjured from within your mind. They were instead taken from your memories. You were not merely dreaming, you were remembering. You remember the girls who slept in your dormitory and how they always hastened to use the shower first, so you're always last for breakfast. You remember how, when you did finally arrive at the dining hall, the most desirable morsels had already been snapped up by the girls who got there earlier. You struggled too to find a seat once you finally did get your hands on some food, because nobody ever wanted to sit with you. The other girls all acted like you were a leper, save for when they wanted favors. They never asked for these favors, mind, for why would they? To them, your father's prestige did not matter. They were all wealthy ladies too, many of them wealthier than you. When everybody has the airs and graces of a princess, how was anybody supposed to stand out? You stood out the least in your class. Perhaps you were one of the smallest, the frailest, the sickliest, who always came down with colds in the winter. Your poor health did not stop the other girls from treating you as a servant, though, when they remembered that you existed, of course. It was your lot in life, as you dwelt within the stone walls of the conservatory, to carry school bags across the field like a pack mule. Then come the evenings. The girl in your dormitory had you sewing on missing buttons and ironing out creases and wrinkles in their uniforms. If there was an odd job that needed performing, you could always be asked. But those girls did not ask you. That would have been too civilized. They ordered you instead, and as they ordered you, they laughed at you. They laughed and they laughed and they laughed. The laughter hurt, but it hurt considerably less than the kicks did, and the slaps and the pinches. Once, during an embroidery lesson, one of your classmates had an accident with her sewing scissors. She stumbled, or at least she pretended to, and before you knew it, the silvery blades of those scissors were embedded in your left paw. Holy shit! This happened quite some time ago, when you were even littler than you are now, but you can still remember it. It hurt a lot. The scissors were sharp, and they perforated your skin. Not all the way to the bone, but enough to bleed. Your wound bled bright red, like strawberry jam, all over your embroidery. Then, when your professor saw it, she shrieked. Her face turned pale as way, and she looked for a few moments as though she might faint, though you were the only one who was in pain. Your professor looked at your face. She could not bear to look at your hand, then demanded to know why you could not be more careful. Her tone had been an accusatory one, almost as if you had stabbed yourself in your hand with your scissors to goad her. The pain in your hand hurt, but the giggles from your persecutors hurt all the more. They never were punished for that. Perhaps your professor did not care enough to punish them. Perhaps she, like everybody else, thought it was all your fault. The wound, when it was all said and done, was not too deep. It did not even need any stitches. It healed well enough in time, on its own, though it still left the scar, a white raised thing like a crescent moon. You still have that scar. You do not know how much blood you lost. It seemed like a lot back in the classroom. You could smell it in the air, sharp as iron, but it could not have been that much, evidently. If your wound had been more serious, perhaps your professor might have cared. Perhaps your classmates, too, would have felt some modicum of guilt over what they did. But as this seems very unlikely. You know that your blood meant nothing to your classmates. Why should it? If you meant next to nothing, the blood in your veins was, if such a thing is possible, even more inconsequential. You feel disoriented when you wake, at long last with the rising sun. You do not remember what you dreamt, but you do not think that your dreams were of a particularly pleasant nature. If they were, your heart would not be hammering so. Ill at ease, you glance around. You're lying in a narrow bed in an unremarkable room, one with dull beige walls and a warped wooden floor. Where exactly are you? This does not look like your dormitory in the conservatory, not unless it has shrunk threefold overnight. Your brow furrows as you attempt to recall the events of the night prior, until, with a gasp, it all clicks into place. You remember now. You're running through the woods, trying to escape from Shia LaBeouf. You shudder. You do not want to think of what it was you're trying to escape from. It was Shia LaBeouf. You presume that you must have given the hunter the slip, though, because you're still in one piece, awake and alert enough to face the dawning of a new morning. You still have all your limbs, and your facial features appear to be in the correct configuration. That is more than enough to be getting along with. You look to the foot of your bed, then blink, bemused at your discovery. Thank you for the hydrate, Dragomir. God, there's so much reading. I signed up for this, though. You can see, lying upon the sheets, a garment, 2 garments, actually, of black and white, folded into a neat white square. What could that be? A maid's outfit? If so, it would not be too surprising. You can now recall your visit with the princess the night prior, and her assertions that you must be her lady's maid. Well, if that's the role she wants you to assume, then you have no qualms with it. It is far preferable to the other role you played last night, that of a startled quarry, running from its pursuer. You press your fingers against the humble maid's attire. It feels so surprisingly soft to the touch, not coarse like you expected. These clothes are rather fine. Did the princess put them here? If so, that is all the more reason to wear them. You are not churlish enough to deny her hospitality. You rise from your new bed, then undress yourself, unbuttoning the front of your plain white nightgown and setting it aside. This task accomplished, you then clad yourself in your new attire, black, white, and eminently sensible. You feel very far away from the girl you once were. Your face might be the same as always, but something within you seems to have changed. You are no longer a student, not as long as you mean to reside within the princess's castle. You'd far rather be her servant. Assured of your newfound identity, you retreat from your chamber and make your way to the mistress's bedroom. The castle is a large one with many, many rooms and many, many hallways to connect them, and for a brief while you find yourself horrendously lost. You cannot remember where the princess's bedroom is. You're beginning to feel rather disoriented when, to your relief, your eyes snag upon the stairwell which looks rather familiar. Could this be the way? You ascend these steps, your footfalls cushioned by the plush carpet which lines them, and you find your way down the very same hall you traversed the night prior. If your memory does not fail you, then the princess's bedroom ought to be. Yes, it is here. You rap upon the door but receive nothing in the way of response. Is the princess still abed? You wonder briefly whether you ought to wait until she has risen of her own accord. But no. The sun is high in the sky, and it would seem a shame to let the princess sleep through the day. You ought instead to rouse her. That seems like the sort of duty a lady's maid should attend to. You enter the princess's bedroom and glance about. The room looks much the same as you remember it from the night prior, though the ceiling seems even higher when viewed in the wan morning light. You see, now that there are fewer shadows to impede upon your view, how very opulent your young mistress's abode is. Her armoire is large and imposing, as is the grate in which she will be expected to keep a fire lit during the nights. The princess herself, however, is curled on her side beneath the sheets, looking rather less grandiose than her title would suggest. She is attired in a nightgown adorned with frills, and her hair is split across her pillow like spilled gold. Her slender arms, meanwhile, held to her chest, is a doll, the very same one she was cossetting last night. You suppose this doll must be her favorite. Idly, you wonder what the doll's name is, though you do not suppose it matters all that much. It is time to wake your mistress. You call out to the princess, but she is largely unresponsive. Her eyelashes are still shown tightly shut, and her lips pursed in slumber. You purse your lips too and sigh. Well, nobody ever said your job would be easy. Once again, you call to the princess, and this time she replies. Her response is not a favorable one, however. She sighs, and turns away from you, her doll clutched to her chest. Just give me a little longer. The princess sounds so enfeebled, we do not take pity on her. If you have learned anything from the conservatory, save for knowledge pertaining to respiratory the respiratory tracts of fish. It is one must be cruel to be kind. Why are you leaving my fish there? You do not think this adage was practiced with great success in the conservatory. Perhaps it will be more of an impact upon the princess. You tell her, once again, to wake up. More sternly this time. You will not let her sleep, for she has slept long enough already. It is very slovenly, really, to be abed at such an hour. Oh, defeated the princess sighs. All right, I can see that I can't twist you around my little finger. I'm up. No need to nag me. Once you have roused the princess from her bed and have put the doll to one side, you set her upon the toilet. You aid the princess in brushing of her hair, a chore to which she submits willingly, like a cat might allow its fur to be brushed. You allow yourself to ponder as you run the bristles of the I'm like tripping over words. As you run the bristles of the princess's brush through her hair, how wonderfully soft it feels against your skin. But a curious query from the princess, "Are you right, dear one?" brings you back to your senses. You're rather lost in thought there. Looks lively now, but you wouldn't want the princess to catch wind of your salacious thoughts, would you? I thought that you'd learned your lesson about that already. Suitably chastened, you finish the princess's hair and set the brush aside. Now that the princess's tresses have been taken care of, you must start on her attire. The princess remains seated upon the edge of her bed, looking up at you askance. She does not ask you to avert her eyes, nor does she make any motion of divesting yourself of your nightgown. It really does seem as though she expects you to undertake this task on her own. Is that all right? You ask the princess as much. You would not wish to impinge upon her modesty, but she only laughs. Yeah, that's all right. It's what you're supposed to do if you're to be my lady's maid. I'm used to be dressed and undressed. I'm not a bit squeamish about it. She might not be squeamish about it, but you are. You've never seen a naked woman before accepting yourself. Even then, however, you've always dressed and undressed furtively, not wanting to examine your body any longer than is strictly necessary. You've never been much like the way you look. You make a few more mumbled objections, but the princess sweeps them to one side easily. It's all right. I might be a princess, but we're both people underneath all our clothes. I thought we looked so much different. You are not sure about that. You have not seen the princess unadorned. You already know, to look at her face, that you are different. She is much, much prettier than you are. But she is waiting. You do not wish to keep her any longer. You steady your nerves. Then, you reach out with trembling hands and you begin to undo the buttons which run down the front of the princess's nightgown. You work as quickly as you are able, which, given how badly your hands are shaking, is not very. You fumble with a few of the buttons, flinching as you do so. The princess, however, seems blissfully unaware of what it is exactly you're doing, or not doing, for your fingers have begun to seize up with the front of her nightgown. She's not even looking at you. Instead, her gaze is directed beyond your shoulder to the windowsill and the sky beyond it. It isn't particularly sunny. I don't think it's too cold outside. Going for a walk might not be a bad idea. What do you think, dear one? You think that you would like to finish undressing the princess as soon as possible, so you can make some progress on undressing her again. The sight of all this exposed skin is bad for your heart. Fortunately, you were able to make quick work of the princess's nightgown despite your initial mishaps, spurred on perhaps by your anxiety. You bid the princess to stand, which she does, and neatly she steps out of her nightgown, her motions, once again, as graceful as fluid as the dancer's. This task completed, you search hurriedly, worriedly, for the princess's red dress. Where is it? You cannot find it. Sweat begins to prickle on the back of your neck. Your palms, meanwhile, feel uncomfortably clammy. The moments pass awkwardly, uneasily as you search, the princess standing there, all the while, as naked as the day she was born. Why did you not find her day dress before you stripped her of her night one? What a fool you are! The princess, noting your panic, giggles and says, Are you looking for my dress? Yes, you reply, your face flushed. That is what you were doing. I thought so. I did wonder, before you started undressing me, why you did not ask where it was. Maybe it slipped your mind. It had slipped your mind, yes, to your shame. You were too busy trying not to fixate upon the princess's bared skin to think about how best to conceal it. My dress is in my armoire, the princess says, glancing over at the aforementioned piece of furniture. That armoire of hers is an intricately carved wooden structure, large enough, or so you estimate, to fit inside it enough. Oh my god. To fit inside it enough dresses to attire whole ballrooms worth of princesses. I like to wear the red one. It's my favorite. Would you be a dear and fetch it for me? Hello, welcome in, vampire. How you doing? Hope you're having a fantastic one.
I don't want to rush you, but it is rather cold in here, especially when I'm still naked.
She raises a good point. You turn away from the princess and make your way to her armoire. Once there, you open its wooden doors and peruse the clothes hanging within. It is just as you expected. Inside that wardrobe lies numerous dresses, all of them finely sewn and decorated with no shortage of ribbons, lace, and iridescent pearls. You find the princess's red dress soon enough, then hurry to her side. With your spoils in hand, you hurry to dress her, concealing, once again, the princess's pale skin beneath layers upon layers of soft red velvet. She's easier to look at now, you think, with her skin concealed. That might have been the most nerve-wracking task you have ever had to accomplish, even more so than your perilous escape through the foggy forest. Why, it seems like a small miracle that you can remember how to breathe.
Ha, that's so much better. Thank you, dear one, for your help. You've not been here for a full day, and I already wonder what I'd do without you.
Shyly, you assure the princess that you did nothing, really. Nothing beyond your job. You did not do anything incredible. In any case, being complimented by someone so pretty is so embarrassing.
Ah, don't be like that. I want to compliment you. Why shouldn't I when you've been so helpful? It'd be rude not to, in any way. I think you're really pretty too.
Oh my. Your face flushes from this, more deeply than ever before. You ought to count yourself lucky, really, what with all this excessive blushing, that the princess does not seem to possess any vampiristic tendencies. Oh my god. The main character just like, oh my god. Yeah, this art's adorable. I love the art for this game. It's so cute. You're making yourself quite the easy target.
Now, the princess declares, why don't we go for a walk? It's a nice enough day, and I get so bored of being cooped up inside.
Can't think of any particularly objections to raise to this remark, and you think that the princess might have a point. The castle, though expansive, is somewhat stifling. The walls are so very thick, they put you in the mind of a crypt. Thank you for the hydrate. Again, Dragomir. With your acquiescence assured, the princess quits her chamber, her posture elegant and her gait unhurried. She seems not to walk as she navigates her way through the seemingly endless hallways of her home, but to float like a cloud. The hem of her dress swishes around her legs, and her hair shifts like a shroud. The castle's courtyard, meanwhile, is sadly lacking in comparison to the princess's beauty. The courtyard is fenced in by the castle's walls, which look, in the stark midday light, tall and imposing, faceless soldiers standing sentinel. Though the sun is out, it is not particularly bright, and neither is it particularly warm. The courtyard itself, meanwhile, is in a state of disarray. The flower beds are in shambles, all overgrown with weeds. It is rather depressing. The princess's castle might be grand in scale, but the courtyard itself is simple, hemmed into a claustrophobic degree, like a coffin. The princess, however, seems to not share your dolorous mood. And she instead looks elated by her newfound surroundings, her smile unwavering. She gambols about like a lamb, flitting hither and thither as she examines the weed-infested flower beds. It didn't say on my end that it was redeemed. Yeah, sometimes Twitch does that. It's like a weird Twitch glitch. I get that sometimes myself, where like I do something and then it doesn't take away the points until I refresh the page. It's you know, Twitch is a small indie company. Your frolicking comes to cease, however, by a bush, one full of bright red roses.
Oh, how very pretty. Do you think they are gorgeous, dear one?
The flowers are not too disappointing, you suppose. They make for a fine spectacle, in fact. A welcome splash of color when contrasted with the dullness and the drabness which permeates the rest of the courtyard. Though the other flowers in their beds are wilted, withered things, it is not so for these roses. They are rich, bright red, just like blood, their heads so full when they seem almost to droop beneath the weight of their own engorged petals. They are pretty, in a sense, but there's something unsettling about them too, something that is almost obscene. How did those roses become so very red? What has been sustaining them? Could it be possible that these roses have been draining the life from the other flowers which are struggling to grow within this garden? It is a fanciful thought, but...
Oh, they're simply divine. Looking at these roses always lifts my spirits. They really are my most favorite flowers. I simply must pick some of them. Perhaps I can use them to decorate my bedchamber. It could use a bit of color. princess reaches out as to pluck one of the roses free from its resting place among its brethren. You watch her, your breath bated, anxious as the gesture might result in the perforated flesh and bright red blood. But the princess is not as clumsy as you fear. Of course she's not. Who do you think she was? You? Rather than worrying about other people, you would be better served if you were worrying more about yourself. The princess holds her newly pilfered rose to her nose and inhales, her eyelids falling shut as her flower sweet scent washes over her. A few moments of silence pass. Then, the princess begins to toy with the petals which adorn the flower's crown. And now let me see. I wonder what fate has in store for me. She loves me? The princess plucks a petal from the flower's overburdened head. She loves me not. The princess continues with the childish incantation, all the while stripping the rose slowly and methodically of its petals. These petals flutter about the princess like a bloody snow. The princess's voice, meanwhile, echoes throughout the courtyard, even more melodic than the strains of pianola. She loves me not. She loves me not. The princess's fingers hover over the final petal which crowns her nearly denuded flower. Then with a triumphant smile she declares, she loves me! I knew it! You watch the princess, amused by her girlish good cheer. The little mantra she has been reciting is one you're familiar with. The girls of the conservatory used to engage in this little game, the younger ones at least, who believed that a fairy tale prince would whisk them away. You might have participated in this game yourself when you were a child yourself, but you never pinned your hopes and dreams on a handsome prince. Your interest in princes has always been minimal. When it comes to fair princesses, though, well, that's a different matter altogether, ain't it? Pleasantly, you ask the princess whose love she wishes to court, a query that makes the princess giggle. Oh, dear one, who else would I be thinking of? Naturally, I was thinking of you. Naturally? She says it so easily, as though you ought to have suspected as much, and indeed, part of you did. You wanted to believe, yet part of you was afraid to. You did not want to be arrogant enough to assume that the princess might care for your affections. You begin to blush, your cheeks almost as red as the roses, while the princess laughs. She laughs and she laughs and she laughs, her voice clear and sweet like a nightingale's song, as though you're the funniest thing she has ever seen. You never liked being laughed at when you dwelt within the walls of the conservatory, but it is different with her. You have not known her for all that long, but you're already entranced by her, ensnared. She has you wrapped around her little finger. Oh my! The princess's laughter tapers off into a series of giggles as, smiling, she wipes her eyes with the back of her hand. That was quite the amusing diversion, but I've just had an idea. You look at the princess curiously. What idea? You can't tell? Cannot even begin to guess. I just thought with all this watching must be boring you, the princess says, tossing the robe's strip stem carelessly to the ground. You should give it a try. Please do, it'll be fun. The princess retrieves a second red rose from the bushes, deftly snapping it between her fingers, and offers it to you. I want to see what fate has in store for you too. You smile at the princess, touched by her enthusiasm. Indulging in childish games like this might not be the best use of your time, but the princess looks so very determined that you would not wish to hurt her. What would be the harm, really, in consenting? The only real casualty of this game will be one singular rose, the rose that the princess is holding towards you. You reach out, meaning to accept the princess's offering, but... Oh no! You are clumsy, and you seize the stem of the rose with a touch too much strength. The head of the rose might be pretty, but there is more to a rose than its bright red flowers. Roses have thorns too, a fact that you're now painfully reminded of. Pain flares in your finger and you gasp. You take a step back, the hem of your skirt swishing around your ankles. Your finger is stinging, and so are your eyes. You ought to have been more careful. Why were you so stupid? You poor dear, you're bleeding, the princess exclaims, alarmed. Then she frowns. This is all my fault. If I not suggest a silly game, this never would have happened. Please, let me take care of you. And how is she going to do that? Perhaps she means to take a handkerchief from her pocket with which she might staunch your wound. Princesses tend to carry handkerchiefs around with them, don't they? Silken ones? How else would they give brave knights tokens of their gratitude, unless those aforementioned knights have successfully slain dragons? Princesses can hardly dispense kisses as favors. It is simply not done. That is what you always thought, but... Please hold still. This might sting a bit. The princess is anything but ordinary. Rather
Rather than take a handkerchief out of her pocket, she instead encloses her white, slender fingers around your hand. Carefully, as though she is handling a precious object, she raises your hand, eyes affixed, all the while on the beads of startlingly crimson blood which are oozing luridly from your wound. Something tells me this is a normal day. It's fine! She licks her lower lip. Then she dips her head. Parts of her mouth with a soft side with borders on the sensuous, she slips your injured digit between her teeth. So much for princesses not dispensing kisses as tokens of affection. This might not be a conventional kiss, but it feels intimate regardless, almost startlingly so. The princess's lips, which are as red as any rose, are enclosed around your index finger. You can feel the warmth of the princess's mouth on your skin and the wetness of it. These sensations make your whole body quake. You did not expect this. Tremulously, in a voice which wavers, you ask the princess what it is she's doing. Oh? The princess glances up at you, her mouth still enclosed around your finger. Didn't I tell you? I'm trying to stop the bleeding. Yes, you gathered as much, but... Is there a problem? I'm not making you uncomfortable, am I? It is not, you say, that she is making you uncomfortable per se, but this is rather awkward. You did not expect it, that is all. And is she not worried that this is unhygienic? Unhygienic? The princess blinks. She is the picture of innocence, which is funny, really, given your finger is still nestled against her tongue. I don't know what you mean by that exactly, but I've heard that this is the best way to take care of cuts. My nursemaid used to do this for me when I was a child. It's what you're supposed to do. And you ask, your voice catching in your throat, did her nursemaid keep staunching her wounds with her mouth when she grew older? Hi, Jack. How you doing? Hope you're fantastic one. Thank you for the hydrate. Oh boy, there's so much reading today. Well, now, when my nursemaid was dismissed when I was 8 years old, that's the normal way of doing things. I had my ladies' maids to look after me then. How very interesting. And did they ever clean her wounds like this? No, the princess says, smiling mischievously, because I'm not clumsy enough to cut myself, silly. Now that was quite the sharp retort. You did not expect it. Your face turns even redder, if such a thing is possible, then this might perhaps be to your benefit. With some luck, all your blood will flow to your face, rather than your finger, and your bleeding will stop. Has it stopped? Your injury was not a deep one. There should be no need for the princess to keep on suckling, and yet she still is. You're not accustomed to the intimacy of this nature, and it's making your heart flutter. If the princess knew of what her mouth was doing to you, you're sure you'd not be so very familiar. You feel quietly, crushing confident that she would scorn you for your feelings and deem them unnatural. It would not be the first time. At this point, you should be used to rejection. It still stings, though. It stings much, much more than any thorn on any rose ever could. The days pass following your misadventures in the rose garden, in a relaxed, unhurried sort of manner. Your mad dash through a forest is beginning to feel like a distant memory. So much so, you can scarcely recall the raw, naked fear you once felt as you fled for your life. There's no running to be had when you are working for the princess. You would have nowhere else to run, and, in any event, there's no longer any reason to run. The shadows which once tormented you have, at long last, begun to recede. You can scarcely recall, as you lay down in your bed, the petty cruelties that you're subjected to by your classmates at the conservatory. They no longer matter. Your attention is focused, not upon yourself, but upon the princess. The more time you spend with her, the more you become to care for her. You've become quite besotted with her, and you're not yet to realize it. Well, I never. How very ignorant can one girl be of her own feelings? The princess is not half so ignorant as you are, though, despite having spent her whole life within the palace's walls. The weight of her own feelings are not unknown to her, and, during one stormy night, she chooses to make them known to you. You are in the princess's bedchambers later, perhaps, than you ought to be. Later than is strictly appropriate. It is dark outside, and there is little save for the light of the moon to alleviate it. That, and the fire which crackles in the grate. I know the theme of the game, and I'm wondering when it kicks in, because I'm like, this is like getting pretty straightforward right now. Honestly, there have been, like, ever since we decided our route, there's no choices, which I'm curious about, because this has been going on for going on for an hour. So I'm wondering if there's just like a straightforward like story and not like a choice-based one. You've only just finished stoking the very fire, now you rise. You look to the princess who is lying in bed, and you bid her good night, as you have many nights past. With a neat curtsy, you turn to leave, but the princess's plaintive voice gives you pause.
Wait, dear one. Do not go. Not just yet.
Perplexed, you pause, then look back at the princess. Though she is smiling, her expression is unusually wan. Is she all right?
Oh, I'm sure I'll be fine. It's just nights like this, you know, which makes me a little out of sorts.
And what, you ask, does she mean by that?
Only that it is very cold and very dark. And it is very windy besides. I'm afraid there'll be a storm later. It was awfully cloudy earlier when we went out on our walk.
The princess is not mistaken about that. The sky, when the pair of you promenaded about the gardens earlier, was gray and steely, the wind bitingly cold. You can hear the wind rattling mournfully against the panes in the princess's bedchamber. The princess's castle is built of stone, and it is well fortified, but even with the fire, it is rather cold. You do not like to think of how much chillier, in comparison, it will be in your humble bedchamber, which is not fortunate enough to have its own fireplace.
It might sound childish, but I've always found it hard to sleep on stormy nights like this. They make me feel uncomfortable.
You look at the princess with no small degree of sympathy. No longer clad in her bright red dress, she looks oddly, uncommonly vulnerable. Will she really be alright, all alone in her oversized bed, in her high-ceilinged bedchamber? You know it is silly of you to contemplate such a query. Why would she not be alright? There's nobody in the castle to hurt her, but still you fret for her. As her lady's maid, it is your job to fret for her. You would never want your mistress to feel unhappy. You ask the princess what she would have you do, and the princess perks up at this, pleased perhaps that you're taking the initiative.
I wouldn't like to take up too much of your time when it's so very late. But would you mind sitting here with me a little while longer and reading to me? Provided that you can, of course.
That's a fair enough question, and your pride bristles regardless. Hastily, you reassure the princess that yes, of course you could read. You were a poor student in many aspects in the conservatory, but you had something of a gift when it came to the literary arts. Reading books is all you've ever been good at.
Oh, I see. I suppose I should have known. You're so incredible. I sometimes wonder if there's anything you can't do.
The princess's high praise makes you flush. Awkwardly, you look away. Being able to read, you reassure her, is not such a great feat.
Perhaps it isn't for where you hail from, but it is here. Very few of my old servants can read, and they certainly couldn't read the books that I like.
This piques your interest. Intrigued, you ask the princess what books exactly she likes.
Well, I'm glad you asked. I'm fond of fairy tales, you see. Old ones from centuries past.
I have a collection of them here, the princess says, indicating a book on the bedside table, as thick as a mortuary slab.
This book is old, though, and the bindings are weak. The page is brittle, and writing woefully old-fashioned. I didn't trust any of my past servants with that book. I think you would do a good job breathing life into those old stories. Would you mind reading to me for a brief while? Please, dear one. Oh, please.
Princess's request seems a simple one expressed sweetly, so much so you see no reason to refuse her. You take a seat beside the princess upon her luxurious bed, which sinks beneath your weight. Then you retrieve the leather-bound book for which she is resting upon the bedside table and spread it open. The pages of the book are very brittle, like the princess said, and the bindings of the book are loose.
I'm Ryan Miotis. Welcome in.
Hope you're having a fantastic one. You can feel in the half of the book's manifold pages the weight of the ages concealed within it. How old is this book? Perhaps it is as old as the castle in which it resides. It is with a quiet voice, as hesitant at first, they begin to read to the princess, a tale of courtly love which culminates in a lavish wedding ceremony. All the while you read, the princess listens to you, enraptured, hanging, or so it seems, upon your every word. Once you reach the final phrase embossed upon the pages of this aged tomb, and they lived happily ever after, the princess sighs as though the tale has touched her very soul.
Would that there would be a handsome prince to marry me, she says somberly. Or better yet, a beautiful princess. At this point, I think I would even settle for a low scuttly maid.
He blushes at this idle remark and mumbles softly that this would not be proper. The storm outside is still squalling, and you have never been one to raise your voice. You do not expect, therefore, that the princess will overhear you, but she does. She observes you, her head resting against her pillows, and says,
And what would be the problem with that, As my maid, shouldn't my happiness come before any silly ideas of propriety?
Well, of course, you reply, but for a princess to marry a scullery maid.
You're still hung up about that? The princess titters. Don't pay it too much heed. I'm just talking to myself. As if anything like that would ever happen when there's no priest around who would officiate it.
You think about there are greater issues with the princess's plan than the lack of a priest, but she does present a good point. The castle is an empty one. Even if the princess were to find somebody she loves, there'd be nobody to make such a wedding official. You cannot help but feel like you have avoided a great deal of nuisance. But by the same token, do you not feel a touch disappointed? Well, never mind.
That was a nice story, the princess says. I'm not sleepy yet, and it's still storming outside. Won't you read me one more?
You would not mind, you reply, but it is getting late. You really ought to return to your own bedchamber.
I know, but you can't find it in your heart to read one story to me. Just one? You can choose a short one, I won't complain.
You have some doubts about that, but as before, you cannot resist the princess's demands. It is not, you think, because she is a princess, but it is, of course, part of it, because she is, well, radiant. You would not, you think, as you turn to the next story recounted in this age compendium, want to upset her. You would rather cut out your own tongue. You read another story to the princess which is of a similar vein to the last, impossible adventures culminating, at their close, in a happy marriage. This tale delights the princess just as much as the tale you read prior, and she begs for another, then another. One bedroom story soon becomes 5, and even then, when the candles which flicker on the princess's bedside are close to guttering out, the princess is not satisfied. Like a grasping, greedy child, she's never heard of moderation. When she wants something, she seeks to glut herself with it, her only request out of more. If she were less calmly, perhaps her inability to adhere to the word no would be seen as a character defect. The princess is very homely, however, and so, when she makes her request, you almost agree offhand without considering the ramifications.
I think I could go to sleep now, but the storm is still raging. I feel lonely on my own in this big empty bed, so... I know.
The princess's eyes light up like a night sky in a thunderstorm.
Why don't you sleep with me?
You stare at the princess, your eyes wide as goose eggs. Slowly, you blink. Then, just as slowly, you bid her to repeat herself.
Didn't you hear me? The princess giggles. Maybe you've been so busy cleaning up after me that you've neglected to clean out your own ears. I said, dear one, would you like to sleep with me?
If that is the question she surely means to ask, that is easy enough to answer. Of course you would like to sleep with her. It would be an honor. But would it be really all right for you to accept such an invitation? It must be a gross breach of protocol, surely for a lowly domestic such as yourself to share a bed with a princess. You sit upon the princess's bedside, fretting, while she observes with wide, beseeching eyes. She is waiting.
Well, what's the matter, dear one? Why do you tarry so? Could it be?
The princess's lower lip begins to tremble.
Don't you want to lie with me after all?
The sorrow present in the princess's voice and in her face makes you feel awfully guilty. Hurriedly, you console her. You tell her, in no uncertain terms, that if she truly wishes to partake in your company, then you have no qualms with it. Why would you?
Well then, don't just stand there dilly-dallying, silly. Come and join me, come.
And that is what you do, after returning briefly to your own chamber to change into your nightgown. Once dressed, you waste no time returning to your impetuous princess's side. She's already lying on her glorious 4-poster bed, awaiting your return as though you're a knight-errant gone away to slay some wicked dragon. The princess giggles when she sees you. In your haste to change, you have made a hash of the buttons, and she bids you to come closer.
Let me fix it for you, silly.
Thank you for the hydrate.
Woo!
Yeah, I feel like the bad stuff gonna happen. I'm like, the water thing's right over there. Let me just get it. Here we go. I got water. This is a lot more reading than I was expecting. I thought it'd be wrapped up at this by an hour point, but still going. I'm interested, so I'm just gonna keep going with it.
Let me fix that, you silly.
Oh no, you say. I couldn't possibly let you do that. I am but a servant after all. Should it not be your job to dress her?
Maybe so, the princess says. I don't mind a bit of role reversal. It makes things more fun.
He tried a few more refutations, but in vain. The princess summarily discards all of them. Quite at the princess's mercy, she might be even more stubborn than you are. You capitulate to her demands. You let the princess unbutton the front of your nightdress, then rebutton them, so the fabric of your plain gown is drawn shut. Satisfied with her handiwork, she has very elegant hands. The princess draws back and pats the mattress beside her.
Now come in. It must be horribly cold out there, but these sheets are warm.
Coyly, the princess smiles.
And so am I.
You feel warm yourself as you slide into the bed beside the princess. Your face is as red as the gown of the princess so often wears, so red as the roses in the castle's grounds. All the while, your heart is fluttering. Does the princess know what an effect she is having on you? Surely she must. How could any woman be so blind?
There,
the princess exclaims once your body is lying beside hers.
That's much better. Do you feel cozy now, dear one?
You swallow and, with a shaky voice, you reassure her. Yes, you are cozy. You're quite cozy indeed.
Very good. The storm might be raging outdoors, but can't get us here. I know. When I'm with you, I'll be safe. It's strange, but...
The princess reaches out and takes your hand in hers, twinning your fingers together like a chain.
When I'm with you, I feel so very light. It's as though nothing in the world can hurt me. You make me feel safe, so I want to make you feel safe too. I'll take very, very good care of you, I promise.
You return her smile with one of your own, touched by her thoughtfulness, though there's something about her promise that does make you wonder. Should it not be your job to look after her as a domestic?
In a way,
the princess replies after a pause,
but you've been taking good care of me already. Now I need to return the favor. As a princess, I'm supposed to look after all my vassals. It's part of the job description.
You're unaware that being a princess came with a job description. You thought the profession came with far fewer written responsibilities and far fewer forms assigned than, say, becoming a doctor or an astrophysicist or a mathematics professor. You tell the princess this sleepily and she laughs.
You do say some funny things, dear one. I think you must be tired. Rest your head. You've been working so hard. I think you deserve it.
Yes, you think, only half conscious, you think you deserve it too. You've been working hard for a long time, have been running for even longer, but now, at long last, you feel like you can let your fears go. Your eyelids begin to droop, your body beleaguered by sudden all-consuming fatigue. And in a quiet, understated sort of way, your consciousness is conveyed to Morpheus's kingdom. Your sleep is a deep one, despite the storm which rages outdoors. The wind is howling like a couple of wildcats, both locked in a vicious and bloodthirsty bout to the death, but you do not hear it. Swallowed by the warm blankets around you, and soothed by the princess's presence, you are immune from all the ills in the world. When you are with the princess, you feel safe, secure, and, yes, you even feel loved. Ellipses. It is a pity, then, that these feelings do not last for very long. Oh shit, here it comes. You know that something is wrong. Catastrophically so, the moment you open your eyes. Your thoughts are hopelessly jumbled, and you are certain that, when you fell asleep, it was in a bed. A nice, warm bed, no less, beneath soft, comfortable sheets. You are not lying in a bed right now, though. You are not, in fact, lying at all. You are standing instead against a cold, hard wall made of stone. The curve of your back is pressed against the wall so intimately that you feel its icy chill seeping through the fabric of your nightgown. Your feet, which are bare, are similarly pressed against cold, unfeeling stone. They feel so rigid you cannot help but tremble. You are trembling so much, you can feel your teeth chattering together. They sound like castanets. The sound is almost jaunty as it echoes through your cell, for that is indeed where you are. The princess's bedchamber, wherein you fell asleep, is a thing now of the past. You are standing, instead, as you realize, with a sharp start, in the cell of some great underground dungeon. You swallow, and when you do, you can taste something bitter on your tongue. Your stomach is beginning to churn with anxiety. You feel like you're going to be sick, a feeling which wells up inside of you to a staggering degree when you catch notice of the stench. You are not, realize, the only one in the dungeon. There are others here, others attired in simple black and white outfits of servants which look much like the dress you once wore. The others who are with you, however, in this expansive cell, manacled to the walls, are in no fit state to speak to you, nor to tell you of their plights. They are all unfeeling, unseeing, unbreathing. They are all dead. You cannot approach these servants to check their pulses, for you yourself are restrained, and even if you could, there'd be no point. There's no way any human could survive these wounds which have been inflicted upon these sad, slumped bodies. Over there, you see a woman slumped, the front of her once white apron stained with blackish blood. There is a gaping wound in her stomach, one through which her entrails have been half escaped, in some sort of burgundy goop which might have once been pale pink. There's another woman slumped beside the first of the smaller stature. She is skinnier. Maybe she is not a woman after all, but an adolescent like yourself. She might even be younger. The girl's age, or lack of, does not preclude her attacker from inflicting upon her horrors, alas, for her body is even more mutilated than the first. Her body is peppered with even more wheals and her face has been half smashed in. Only one eye remains, staring fixedly at the wall opposite her, in ruined remains of what was once her skull. Over there, you see a woman who is missing both her arms and her lower jaw. Over there, you see another who is missing her entire lower half. Where have her legs gone? You have no idea. The injuries inflicted upon these bodies are ghastly, but their advanced decay is enough to turn your stomach. You do not know how long these carcasses have been lying down here, but they have begun to putrefy. You fear a similar fate might befall you should you stay here. You need to escape. Fitfully, you struggle against the manacles which bind you, but alas, it is no use. You cannot free yourself from the walls. Your restraints are much too strong, and you are much too weak. Panic rises up in your throat, cold and icy, while terror seizes your heart. This, too, is glacial. It is obvious that escape is impossible, but still you squirm and writhe like a rat caught in a firestorm. There's little point, however, to your struggles. You succeed in nothing as you attempt to free yourself, save for making steel manacles dig into your abused ribs more sharply than ever. You gasp. That hurts. Well, you gotta know that it would not work. The very definition of insanity is, performing a set of action over and over again, hoping for a different response. In that sense, perhaps you could argue optimism is not so very different from insanity. Now, that is an interesting point to consider. Would you not agree? No, evidently not. You're still trying to escape, you foolish girl, as if that will do you any good. The clangorous rattling of your steely restraints is rather starting to get on my nerves. Stretch. Thank you for the care package. You are making enough noise to raise the dead down there, in your dark, dingy cell, and all your screaming is hardly helping matters. I wish you would cease this infernal racket. I know you will not. Nothing I say could ever get through to you. Not that you've ever listened to me in the first place. Perhaps you would have listened to her, though. Is she not your kind, considerate mistress? Look now, she has come all this way, into the dark depths of the castle's cold, inhospitable dungeon to see you. Is that not kind of her? Oh, dear one, the princess trills, entering the dungeon with a series of light, flitting steps. It would seem you have finally awoken. How are you? Time for the leave, sadly. Have fun with Vienna. Thanks for stopping in, Dragoneer. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Based on the infernal racket you've making, it seems that you have no shortage of energy. Balefully, you turn her head as to meet the eyes of the princess. She's standing but a few paces away, beneath a roughly honed stone arch which bids one to entry, but rarely ever an exit to the dungeons. The dungeons are dull and drab, but the princess is wearing her favorite red dress. It is so bright and brilliant that for a few moments it hurts you to look at her. Once, the red of the princess's outfit makes you think of romance. Now, it makes you think of violence. You must forgive me for leaving you down here for so long. That was unfair of me. I did think of waiting here with you by your side until you awoke, but... Once again, the princess giggles, a light, airy giggle which does not at all suit the situation in which you have found yourself. A dungeon's not a fit place after all for a princess. It's horribly cold here, and so very drab, but there's nowhere nice and soft to lay my head. I could have brought my pillows down from my bed, I suppose, and my blankets. But then they would have gotten dirty, and that would be a disaster. I need to be more careful. I won't have anybody left to clean up my messes soon, not when I've dispatched a few. Once again, the princess laughs. Her laughter is light and flitting, like the chiming of a silvery bell, but it does little to alleviate your concern. If anything, it makes you feel even more alarmed. Did she say she meant to dispatch of you? Yeah, that's right. Did you not tell? I thought you might have figured that out already, after waking up in a dungeon, silly. Still smiling, the princess takes another step towards you. Would that you could. You would cringe away from her, but you cannot. You're completely powerless. The princess reaches out and places a hand on your cheek. Her skin is very white, though her touch is cool. It is less so than the frigid Aaron's dungeon. Though your body is aching, the princess's touch is gentle, and you find yourself leaning into it subconsciously. You wish she would keep holding you. You wish she would keep touching you. You luxuriate in her kindness as best as you can. Though the princess's caresses are tender, your circumstances are rather undermine them. How can you relax like this?
Ah, you're such a good girl,
the princess says in a cajoling sort of voice, as one might address a cat.
You've been so lovely to me while we've been together. I really couldn't ask for a better servant. I feel as though I've been spoiled.
Why then, you ask her, is she doing this? Improbable as it sounds, she must be the one who chained you up. There's nobody else in the castle who could have committed such a feat. Everybody else is dead.
Why, yes, how very astute of you. I was the one who orchestrated all this naturally.
Naturally, she says, as though her betrayal was a matter of course. Naturally. Why, you ask, is this so natural to her? What does she mean to do with you?
Oh, only what I've done to all my other servants. I have experience with this sort of thing, so please don't worry. I'll take good care of you.
If I take good care of, she means.
Naturally, I'll kill you.
There it is again. That word, which seems grossly inappropriate given all that has transpired. Naturally. There's nothing natural about this.
Do you not think so?
The princess examines you, her expression ponderous.
It's natural to me, even if it is natural to other people. This just feels right.
Imprisoning your servants in a dungeon and letting them die.
Yeah, exactly. There's a bit more to it than that, though.
Oh, of course there is.
I like you, dear one, the princess says in a voice which sounds uncommonly serious. You have been good to me, like I said, and kind. For that, I will be eternally appreciative.
Tibania, thank you so much for the follow. Really appreciate it.
You have been so good to me, in fact, and simply being with you is not enough. Not anymore. Your company cannot no longer content me. I am a greedy, selfish girl, you see.
The princess's smile widens into something sinister, her eyes flashing with a fiendish fervor you've never before witnessed.
And I don't want to feel you inside.
Holy shit!
And I don't want to feel you beside me. I want to feel you inside me.
Well, of all the things your charming captive could have said, you did not expect that. The princess, perhaps noticing your confusion, begins to giggle. A giggle even lighter than meringue and just as airy. It's just as inoffensive.
I can see you don't understand, dear one. You aren't the only one. My last lady's maid said that too.
Quietly, the princess sighs, a bleak woe is me sigh that makes her look even younger than the scant handful of years she truly possesses.
And the one before that, and the one before that, and the one before that. I thought perhaps you might be able to appreciate my point of view, but perhaps not. I don't think it should be too complicated to grasp, really. But maybe my way of looking at the world is a bit unique. That's what my nurse always used to say, at least, when she still had the breath to speak, of course.
You look at the princess. Where else is there for you to look, really? Your eyes are fixed to her face. She's still smiling, but there's something sinister about her smile. Or perhaps, in your anxious state, you were only imagining that there is something sinister about her smile. It's easy to see things which do not exist when your surroundings are festooned in shadows. In actuality, however, the princess does not look any different than how she usually does. Neither is she acting any different to the way she usually acts. She has not changed. It is only your perspective of her that has changed. Tremulously, you ask the princess what she means, a question the princess is only too happy to answer.
It's simple, really. Like I said, you were wondering, weren't you? Why weren't there any guards or any servants in the castle when you first arrived here?
The question had crossed your mind, yes. You were sure that the princess said her minister sent them away, though. Was that a lie?
I wasn't being totally truthful, no. I thought you would be afraid of me if you knew what actually happened. I didn't want that. I wanted you to stay with me. The ministers didn't send anybody away because I don't have any ministers. I dispatched them too.
Did she now? You suppose he ought to not be surprised, but you still shudder regardless.
My ministers weren't really much fun, I'm afraid. They had a lot of ideas of what I should and shouldn't do after my parents died.
The princess stares at you, her eyes wide like black holes, empty, yawning abysses.
So I killed them. I killed my servants too. I did a more thorough job with them than I did my ministers. I didn't care for my ministers, you see. They were all fussy old men. I did love my servants. I loved my ladies' maids and my undermaids and my scullery maids and my housekeeper and my cooks and my large retinue of retainers. They were like my family. They raised me in my parents' absence, and I adored them. They were so very dear to me that I had no real choice. I had to eat them. Does that follow?
Not logically, no. Why, you asked the princess, your voice trembling. Would you eat the people that you love? It seems a poor way to repay them for their kindness.
Well, why wouldn't you eat the people that you love? I don't think there would be any greater way of showcasing one's gratitude, unless you had any better ideas.
You weren't expecting the princess to turn the tables on you quite like this, and dumbfounded you stare at her. How? You know precious little about love yourself, so it's hard for you to form a convincing rebuttal, but you muster up a few token arguments. You tell the princess that eating people isn't very nice, and neither is it strictly legal. A better way to show your gratitude to your servants would be with increased wages or increased holidays. The princess listens to your arguments, her expression astute, like a student poised to take notes in a very important lecture. Once you're finished, however, her concentration fails her. Her shoulders begin to shake. It is not with remorse for what she has done. Instead, she is laughing.
Oh, dear one, that's very funny. But why should I care about the law? I'm a princess. One day I'll be queen and I am the law.
That's a good point, but why would eating people not turn her subjects against her?
What subjects? I'm no fool, you know. No matter how I might act, I know what happens beyond the castle's walls. I know all about the plague. Once, I might have had a populace to govern, but they're all gone now. I'm a princess in nothing but name only, a monarch without any subjects. Don't you think that's sad? I know I do. It's so woefully lonely.
If she feels lonely, then why has she been systematically slaughtering all of her domestics? It doesn't make a lick of sense.
Perhaps not to you.
Gently, the princess caresses your cheek.
But I shouldn't judge you too harshly. As much as I like you, dear one, you are a commoner. Perhaps you can't understand the intricacies of my thoughts.
Privately, you doubt that anybody would be able to understand the intricacies of the princess's thought process, largely because it is unreasonable. You do not say that, though. Instead, you ask her the only question you can think to ask, with your weary throat which is sore from shouting. Why?
Why, you ask?
The princess blinks.
It's because I don't want you to leave me, of course. Everybody leaves sooner or later, whether they have pledged their allegiance to me or not. That's simply the way of the world. People are fickle and inconstant, even to me, a monarch. That's why I decided to eat my servants. I had no choice, you see. It was the only way to ensure that they would never leave me. What do you think about it? They should be grateful that I would demean myself so, to consume their flesh and blood. I am a magnanimous ruler, you see, and I treat all of my subjects equally. I love every single one of you. And naturally, I love you too. You've been awfully nice to me. And you're very pretty alongside it. If you were a plain, ugly girl, perhaps I would not shower you with affection as quite as intense as this, but you've captured my heart. I think you're lovely. So I'll just bestow upon you the highest honor I can conceive of. I want your body to mix with mine. Then we can stay together forever and ever.
The princess leans in. You can feel her soft, silken hair brushing against her cheeks. You can feel, too, the warmth from her breath as it goes against your skin. It is cold in the dungeon, but the princess's close proximity is, perverse though this might sound, something of a comfort. Her eyes are wide and her lips are so red. Her smile, meanwhile, is so sweet.
I've been doing my best to fulfill the role that fate has dictated for me, but really...
The princess exhales. Her eyes, which are boring into yours, are like two dark tarns. Finally, you think you can see, in the alarming lack of light, the lack of anything, in the princess's gaze some degree of humanity.
It gets so lonely here.
But this brief flicker of understanding, which passes between the pair of you, is soon cut short. The princess dips her head. She parts her lips, which are red as the petals of a carnivorous flower. You feel the princess's breath against your neck. It is warm in the icy chill of the dungeons, and you shudder from it. For a few moments, you think that this overture of a princess could be very romantic in a way, but this too comes to a swift, merciless close. The princess's mouth is on your neck. The princess's teeth, sharp as needles, are in your flesh. The princess is draining your blood. She's supping on it in great, greedy goblets, like a hungry animal. one who cannot truly comprehend the harm it is causing. Even as the princess stops from you, her arms twined around your waist, you find you cannot hate her. She is far too unworldly. You are sure, as your consciousness begins to fade, that the princess was being sincere when she spoke of her love of past servants. This is simply the way the princess expresses this great love of hers, a love which is so very abundant and borders upon the monstrous. It is a love you never thought you would ever experience. This love of the princesses eclipses anything you have known before. It eclipses sanity. It eclipses reason. It eclipses all notions that you might have had of right or wrong. Oh, I accidentally clicked that. The princess, as you know fully well, does not care much about concepts. You have always possessed a stubborn core, nestled beneath your weak-willed exterior. But the princess is even stubborner than you are. In the face of her love, you have met your match. The princess draws back. Desperately, you gasp for air, but she does not give you any quarter. As before, she dips her head, her red lips redder, still with your blood, then splits apart her jaw. Her teeth, which are impossibly inhumanly sharp, glint wickedly, like knives. This is an active... What? Huh? Oh, okay. Then she tears at your throat. In front of your nightgown was white once. Now it is red. This is so much blood. You can smell it when you inhale, sharper than metal. It is so potent you can taste it on your tongue. You try to inhale, but this task proves to be beyond you, but with the twin perforations that have ruptured your skin. Your attempted breaths, when they escape your lips, sound like sad, sorry wheezes. Your whole body, meanwhile, feels as though it is on fire. You make for quite the sorry sight indeed, but you'll forgive me if my sympathy is limited. You did bring this upon yourself, you know. You reap what you sow, and in your case, you made a series of bad decisions which led you to your untimely demise. Now, what do you want to do? Will you accept this fate of yours and rest in peace, or will you try to fight against it? Oh. Oh shit. I mean, two neighbor was going on to chat. This is the first choice we've had so far on this route. Like, her neck has been eaten. She doesn't have a neck anymore. Like, it's been, her jugular's gone. I guess I'll fight. Let's fight against fate. No, I'll live even though I don't have a neck anymore. That's a good answer. I must admit I like it. It's impressive how very defiant you can be, even in a situation as discomforting as this. Now, try not to cry. Keep your chin up. This is but a minor setback in your story. Yeah, next grow back. Like all fire maidens who are deserving of your own happy ending. You need only the strength to try and seek it out. Why don't we give this another go? Just try not to ensnare the hearts of many more monarchs, particularly those with unusual appetites. You're destined for a far higher purpose than being an entree, and there are vastly more enjoyable ways to be eaten in this world. Okay. Your fate is, once again, in your hands. Now I wonder, which path will you take? Oh shit! Oh shit, it like loops. This is like literally the beginning of the game. Holy shit. This is interesting. I'm gonna pick one of these. I'm gonna save it for myself because I'm gonna play the rest of this later. I'm gonna move on to the next game. Because like this took a lot longer than I thought, but this shit's good. Yo, I'm gonna post a link to it later. I think this is I forget if this was free or not. Because like the other two games I got were free on Steam. But yeah, this game is creepy and I like it. I think next I'll go to the village and I'll save it. Yeah. There we go. Got it. But yeah, this is called It Gets So Lonely Here. There's 3 routes. It looks like there aren't really any choices, so you just kind of read it and experience it yourself. And it's really cool. So there's like 2 other whole parts of this game that you can enjoy. That's really cool. Let's see what's next. This took a lot longer than I thought. I thought this would be a 2-hour stream, but I have only done 1 game and it is almost 2 hours. So let's see. I think we're gonna do the Jester game next. Let's see, where's the Jester game? I have it somewhere. Here it is. Here we go. This one is supposedly short. Supposedly. Not sure though. Oh, this is very short. Okay, let me pull this on stream. This is gonna be nothing. Okay. So this is called Trapped with the Jester. The you guys missed it, but there was a quick like intro scene, like introducing like what the game is, and they basically said, "Hey, this was made for a game jam. It's 1,000 words, so this is nothing. 1,000 word is nothing for a visual novel." Ah, shit, I made it full screen and it fucked with OBS. Sorry. God damn it. Okay, here we go. Okay, that looks correct. Yay, we did it. Okay, this is Trapped with the Jester. Yeah, the previous game is all about yanderes. So if you liked what you saw, it's gonna be good. But yeah, let's do Trapped with the Jester. If you guys like a month ago, it was a month or two ago, I did a Tome game like sampling night with Matcha and Tenten. And this game is made by the same creator as Thorn with the Villain, which we really liked, and we plan on playing that once it's fully released. So yeah, we're gonna do Trapped with the Jester. I should change the stream category. Holy shit, I'm doing this again, like twice in a row. Okay, is this on? Is this on? Yeah, Trapped with Jester. Yeah, okay, I changed the stream category. Here we go. I'm professional. Let's go. All right, let's go. Your head hurts. You feel cold.
Your Highness.
Whoa, it has voices.
Wakey.
What?
Hello.
I didn't know it was voice acted. I mean, this helps. I've been reading for 2 hours straight now. I get to listen to voice acting now. Let's go. Let me see the settings here. I don't want him to like breathe in my ear too much. Like put that up, and let's continue. All right, voice acting time. I'm not used to this in my visual novels. I usually turn the voices off, but I think I'm gonna need this. This voice. You didn't recognize it. The last thing you remember.
Hey. Are you alive?
No.
Are you alive yet?
No. Ellipses. What was your name again? Everything is a blur.
Tell me if you're still dead. Come on, don't keep me hanging.
Jump scare. Ellipses.
Oh, you're up. Rise and shine, sleepyhead. I hope I didn't disturb you. Would have been a shame if I messed up your sweet slumber.
Oh, I need to turn the voice back up. This now it's a little low. I didn't want him to whisper in my ear. Oh shit. Bye. Good morning. You know, first impressions are everything. Good morning.
Oh, you're quite a chipper, ain't ya? You're so cute. I want to squish your little cheeks.
No, don't. Never mind.
I like you already.
More importantly, where are we?
Dunno. You're the one who called me.
I see. Understandable. Have a nice day. So we are on the same boat here?
Yep. Such a nice boat. Let's keep this ship sailing.
Okay. Okay.
Whoa. Does this mean the feeling's mutual?
Why are you blushing? How did I call you?
You know what that means.
What does that mean?
I like you, bud.
Oh man, we made a friend today.
Can I take you home?
No thank you, sir. We don't even know each other yet. We don't even know you.
Oh dear, you're right. How rude of me. Well, I guess you can call me Jester.
Oh, are you Jester from Trapped with Jester? What? Wait.
Pleasure to meet ya, my dear master.
Hi? Look, Elise. Yeah, Elise. Come on. I at least want a little bit of dinner. Like, like, get some romance. I just like a little bit romantic. Please. I'd like that. Master?
Well then, my dear master, please close your eyes.
Why is his eyes like that? You feel the warmth of his hand over your eyes. The heat lingered even after his palm left your skin.
Don't open them now.
As soon as he whispers those words, his presence disappears.
Huh? Who are...
You hear voices from the outside.
Monster! No! Spare me! Funny, coming from someone keeping a cadaver in the back.
What?
We were just tasked to dispose of it.
Oh shit. I'm a corpse.
Do I look like I care?
Ellipses. It's gone quiet.
Open your eyes, dearie.
Hi, I'm no longer trapped. Hi?
Do you like it?
Hey,
Come now, my lovely master.
back up.
Let us raise the world together.
Back up. What? What? well, I beat the game. Well, let's try for a different ending. Let's see what's going on. My head hurts. This is very quick. Like, they weren't lying when it said it was a short game. Where am I?
Dunno. You're the one who called me.
Answer my question, please.
Wow. So that's how you treat a guest. You summoned me here. Meanie.
Summoned?
See anyone else here? Nah.
Oh, shit. You're telling me I summoned you?
Did I stutter?
Then who are you?
Guess you can call me Jester. Yep.
That tells me nothing. Very well then, Jester. Who am I?
No idea. You smelled so good. So I came a-buzzing like a hungry fly.
Ew.
A pure soul corrupted by betrayal is such a rare delicacy.
So I was murdered. Okay. Uh-huh.
You were seething with so much contempt.
Stop blushing, please.
Guess I slurped in too much and took your memories along with it. Whoops.
At his words, you feel a sharp sting in your head. Memories of your demise. Betrayed by your closest aide. By your family. You have died. A strong desire bubbled up from within you. Revenge!
Such a beautiful, tainted soul. Come.
He stretches out his hands towards you.
A road to damnation? Or a meaningless death? The answer's rather clear-cut now.
Oh shit, take his hand. Plus the beginning of a blasphemous partnership. A sacrilegious demon and his monarch. Together they leave destruction and suffering in their wake. Ah, what a beautiful symphony of vengeance they create. Oh, ending 2. Hey. Okay, I'll do one more round. I just want to see if there's any like other endings. I'm just gonna, where am I?
Dunno. Yup.
I see. Same boat. I don't get it. I don't understand a word you say.
Huh? Am I speaking the wrong language?
Yes.
Hello? Konnichiwa. Kamusta? Annyeonghaseyo. Hola?
Stop, I get it.
Oh, how sweet of ya. I'm blushing.
Stop that. Why?
Whew, I got it.
He totally ignores you.
A human pet.
What? No.
How delightful.
No.
Never mind our contract then.
What? What period?
You're coming with me.
He tried to struggle, but he's far too strong.
I'll take good care of you.
Ending 3B. There's so many endings to this. Holy shit. Anyway, that was Trapped as a Jester. Man, that was so short. Yo, endings. Oh, okay. There's three other. Actually, it's such a like this is so quick. Look, I want to try. If I can't get a new one here, then I'm gonna. Okay. Good
Oh,
morning. I like you too.
Oh, can I take you home?
Kiss him. All right, guys, we're kissing him. Oh no, back up.
My, how bold. That's it. I'm forging a contract with you.
Made out with the jester. Achievement unlocked. The kiss is no. I picked a different option this time. Contract.
I ain't interested in your heart, but I wanna ravish your soul.
Checking the rating on this game. Places a hand over his chest and bows.
Jester, demon of betrayal and nightmares, at your service. This one shall grant your deepest desire. Master.
Demon. At his words, you feel a sharp sting in your head. Memories of your demise. Betrayed by your closest aid, by your family. Okay. Revenge. Okay, I already picked the master part, so don't call me that.
Oh, how do you want me to address you then?
Oh, I can just type it in. Ner. Call me by my government name, sir.
I see. So it is. Well then, my dear, please close your eyes.
Feel the warmth of his hand over your eyes. Okay, same as before.
May this, until
Oh, wait.
death, do us part.
Wait, are we married now? I married someone. Oh, okay, ending 1. Okay. Okay. Keep going. Where am I? Answer my question.
Wow.
Where are we?
A carriage.
I can see that.
Then why do you ask?
Ellipses. Patience.
Now I'm bored. You're boring me. Should have known answering the summons of a prissy noble's gonna be a waste. You're on your own now. See ya. Don't want to catch your royal dullness.
Before you can put another word in, your vision suddenly starts to go dark. Can't breathe. You can't hear. Huh? Why? What's happening? What's going on? There's no pain, but you know your life is slipping away. Just like that, you're gone. Ending 4, you're boring. That's my favorite ending so far. You're boring. There's one more. It's probably just ending 2 or it's ending 3 because it's 3B. So ending 3. How did I get that one? I need to find ending 3. Where am I? I see. I don't get it. Okay, I'm actually gonna pull up a walkthrough for this. I am determined now. Let's see. Let me see. Community hub for this game. Guides. Endings. Okay, here we go. Okay, I got it. Let's go. Okay. Good morning.
Oh, you're quite a chipper.
Okay. I like you too.
Oh.
Then, okay, sure.
A human pet.
Yep.
Shall we?
Take his hand. You realize you have nowhere else to go unless you take his hand. You have no idea where this unhuman being will take you, but certainly anywhere is better than here, right? Hey! So, got that. Oh, there's one more achievement I can get. I'm gonna do this. Okay, I'm completing this game today. It's just so short that you just do it. Okay. Okay, will you shut up?
Whoa! Someone woke up on the wrong side of the floor. You'll grow wrinkly and old and tired all the more quickly. If you're always that kooky and crusty, can't blame you when you've been sleeping on that very sad, cold, hard wood.
Huh, he's right. Why were you sleeping on the ground? Actually, you came out of a sack.
Guess that's what you get for blind trust. Salt and sweet betrayal.
What is he talking about?
Oh well, once a fool, always a fool.
He shrugs. Suck it up and ask what's going on.
Dunno. Yo.
Answer my question.
Wow.
Who are you? Okay, that didn't do it. Okay. Well. Anyway, that was Trapped with the Jester. This is like extremely short. Let's move on to the next one. We got one more. Let's see. Last one was like right at the end. Okay, so here we go. This is called Winter Worm Summer Grass. It's actually in one of my like kind of favorite genres, I guess. And by genre, I mean very spooky old Japanese town. I love that kind of horror. I like spooky creepy Japanese town. Let's see. Let's get that up. I can't resize this, can I? Nope. Oh, here we go. Okay, let me change the category. I don't think this will be on Twitch, but let me see. Ah, here we go. It's actually on here. Cool. Category updated, I think. Okay, looks like it went through on Twitch. Let's go. Okay, please note the story is fictional. Any resemblances to real or imagined people, places, or events are purely coincidental. Contains mild horror, violent sexual themes, supernatural themes, and adult themes. Recommended for players aged 15 plus. Quick to confirm, I am well beyond that. Yeah, so here it is. It's a very simple one. I played a little bit of it. Okay. Okay, let's go. People whisper of a village. Which is cursed by a mountain god. Venture beyond the bustle of the city, the remote forest and towering mountains to where the rumbling and whistling of steam trains barely echo. Travel deeper on a path no wider than an animal trail, past where even monks would turn back, then further still. There, embedded in the heart of the mountains, lies a village. All who see this isolated hive of human life, cupped on all sides by sheer rock and dense forest, are stunned by its beauty. I'm just going to be doing like one ending of this game. Its streets are glit with verdant greenery so vibrant in gleams, and a cornucopia of lush flowers in bloom. In spring, cherry blossom trees decorate the village like a parade of girls in their finest dresses, treading a soft green carpet. On summer mornings, leafy ivy creepers draping from the eaves of every house rustle among the tinkling, dappled glass wind chimes. Everyone delights in watching deer horn cactus unfurl their milky white flowers over the course of a single night. In the fall, the sky stretches higher than ever, filled with leaves as bright as the licking flames. Every hour appears as if it were red dusk. Even in winter, when the village is silenced by snowfall, the sweet fragrance of pale purple wisteria flowers blooming out of season perfumes the air. No one fails to be astonished by the village's bounty of natural beauty. All sing its praises. Yet, all those who visit try never to linger too long. They know the village is a place of grave and sinister misfortune. How so? Because its inhabitants suffer from a strange, rare disease. Each and every one of them. As winter turns to spring, their symptoms appear in droves. The people of the village bloom, just the same as their surroundings, as if they were themselves part of the mountains. Sprouts and stems spill from their eyes, the tops of their heads, and their pores. Ivy bursts forth from their bodies, vines creep from their skin, petals surge from their mouths with every cough. Spring wildflowers and mosses, which ought to rise only from the ground, are up from their skin as well. The great mistletoe has come. Though the villagers have their own name for the awful phenomenon, the outsiders know it as the Flora Calamity. Legend has it the disease was the result of the villagers having once invoked the wrath of a mountain god. Its rate of onset varies. I read varieties. But when a victim's body is entirely covered by plants, they perish, becoming one with the mountains. The villagers believe that the affliction is a reminder from the vengeful god that they must suffer to atone for their ancestors' transgressions. Believing that God will forgive them one day, they embrace an industrious and aesthetically modest way of life, resigned to the harsh reality. There is another god. As it happens, the village is home to a god of its own too. This deity exists not encapsulated but in a statue, nor a painting. He can be seen and even touched. They call him Arahitogami. A young man of singular beauty, and the only person in the village from whom not even one bud has ever grown. How long has he lived here? Why did he come? In truth, he's probably no more than a lost child who once strayed into the village by chance. That matters not to the villagers. To them, Arahitogami appears to have been pardoned by the mountain god. He is free. Proof that a day will come when they too will be saved. There are more today. Aoi stared drearily into the lacquered mirror her mother had given her. It had become her morning routine ever since the great mistletoe had come to her. She heaved a heavy sigh, releasing all the hopes that had stirred in her during the night. Nazuna, I might not last long enough. The rumbling of a departing steam train echoed in her memories. Aoi, make sure you hold on until I become a doctor, okay? Her childhood friend Nazuna's soft voice had nearly drowned out by the screech of a whistle warning the train was about to leave. Aoi wondered what expression he'd worn then, after he turned away. She hadn't meant to recall that moment. She seemed to be growing more sentimental with each passing day. Ah. Her hand wandered to her newer, unmentionable buds sprouting from her eye. A flash of pain jolted her when she tweaked the stems, pulling the membrane of her eye taut. Ow. It was only natural that it hurt. After all, the plants were growing out of her face. There was no hiding from the fact that the accursed weeds had sprung from her. She resumed gazing vacantly into the mirror when her ears pricked at the muffled voices of maids beyond her door. Huh? It sounded like they were murmuring about her as they went about their morning duties. I wonder if Miss Aoi will be alright. I know what you mean. I never seen anyone afflicted as early as her. This household gets it bad, doesn't it? You, don't jinx us. You'll tempt the great mistletoe. Miss Aoi's not the only one who gets it, I know. Still, isn't it too soon for her? The master was cursed early, too. People in this family die young. You know that better than anyone. He and the madam been visiting the shrine lately. Sure, they're asking about the closed ritual. Sure, and with that and the festival around the corner, there's hope. I don't know much about the closed ritual, but it works, doesn't it? I heard it's a bit like a pre-wedding ceremony. I hate to say it, but maybe heaven's just set on her. Heaven set on me? Aoi peered at her reflection, letting the voices wash over her. These buds are set on me. One weed stuck out further than the others, a healthy green pea green sprout. Aoi tentatively pinched its stem. A rush of pain when she tugged on the smooth, supple plant assured her that it was indeed growing out of her. Why? Why me? Why was Aoi who she was? Why did she have to be born in this village, into her family? The mirror slid out of her grip and landed on the floor with a thud. Oh, are you awake, Miss Aoi? Yeah. I'm good. Well then, come out for brekkie. Yes, we've seasoned mountain vegetables with fresh pickled herbs. You'd like them? Okay, sounds nice. How many meals do I have left? Could I get used to eating the plants that grow out of me? It would be nice if doing that could cut the curse off at its roots, so to speak, turn it back into her body. How silly. There's no point in being ridiculous. No one would do such a thing. Her meandering thoughts brought a smile to her lips. Even if she did eat what grew from her, new foliage would spring forth in its place. It preyed upon her flesh and blood. No one can escape the great mistletoe. The curse had come to her a little early. The maids are right. Aoi's fate was sealed the moment she was born in this village. Come on, faster. Aoi dashed up a gravel path without a thought for how carefully her mother addressed her. It'll be okay, I'm only a little late. Her pretty, rarely worn kimono, which she showed off to all the adults at home, was creased and bunched. What mattered more to her was the festival was due to start at any moment. She promised Nazuna she'd rendezvous with him in secret before it began. He won't mind too much. He'll be waiting for me, surely. Finally, the dense copse of trees surrounding the shrine came into view. Aoi raced up the stone step through a teeming mass of people. Birds seemed to burst out of the ground on either side of the path as they took flight. Nazuna stood beneath the shrine's large wooden gate, looking impatient. Aoi slowed. Hello! You're late. Sorry, it took me a while to get away. I thought you might have forgotten about me. Don't say that, I would never. Well, you're here now. Come on, before Father or anyone else sees us. Okay? Hey, what's Arahitogami like? Well, I haven't talked to him, so I don't really know. What do you mean? Don't you have to serve him too, living here? Nazuna blushed at Aoi's disappointed sigh. I'm still just watching and learning. Yeah. It successfully managed to slip away from the crowd. Now all that was left was to wait for a glimpse of Arahitogami. They held their breath, but like most kids, they struggled to stay silent. It didn't take long for Aoi to grow restless. Nerves and anticipation got the better of her. How much longer, Nazuna? How would I know? What good are you then? I'm the one who brought you this far. Yeah, well. You really aren't cute, you know. I wouldn't want to be called cute by you anyway. Seriously, you're not cute. Ah ha 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 ha. Stop it. Aoi let out a shrill giggle. Nazuna was the one who was cute whenever he got mad. Just then, Aoi felt something on her arm. She looked down to check if there were a bug crawling on her. But what she saw made her breath catch in her throat. A vine? Aoi's heart pounded. Why would a vine be sprouting from her already? The curse sent by the great mistletoe, the fruit of the god's anger, afflicted adults. It would come to her eventually, but not yet. She is far too young. Oh no. What's wrong? I impulsively shook her arm. The vine bud whipped back and forth, then came off and landed on the ground. Ah, thank goodness. It must have fallen on me. It couldn't have been growing out of me. If it had broken off just now, it would have hurt more. What happened? Aoi cast a sidelong glance at the tiny green tendril lying on the dirt, then looked up at Nazuna. He stared back at her, looking as baffled as she felt. Nothing. Never mind. You sure? I felt like something bad would happen if she told him. She kept her face blank and shook her head. You're being weird. What? There he is. Where? I followed Nazuna's line of sight to the top of the shrine's outdoor cypress stage. He was about to ask Nazuna to point him out when her eyes fell on him. It's like the people who made this game was just discovered Live 2D and it was like, oh my god, I have an idea. He was looking right back at her. Why is he looking over here? Nazuna had promised that no one would ever expect to spot anyone where they're hiding. But Arahitogami was definitely looking their way. I was transfixed by his eyes. They held the same color as the forest's fresh greenery, and were changing with the light just as the mountainside did. Wow. What should we do? If he tells someone that we sneaked in here, we're going to get in trouble. No one aside from certain shrine staff were permitted to come this close to Arahitogami. Hasuna might be let off since his father was the head priest, but if word got out that Aoi had embarrassed her family this way, she'd get a good scolding. She had to leave, and fast. But despite the urgency, she couldn't tear her eyes away from Arahitogami. He's so pretty. His ebony hair was tinged blue. His skin was enticingly pale. His lips were as plump and smooth as dewy fresh fruit, and his color-changing, fairy-like eyes. And so pretty. A man so beautiful he'd earned the mountain god's favor was just a few dozen steps away. Oftentimes hearsay tends to build up people's hopes, only for reality to bring them crashing down. Even the sheltered young Aoi knew that. But the blessed Arahitogami's incandescence blew all of her expectations away. Ellipses. He had to be a living god. Aoi couldn't reconcile the ardency of emotions with him possibly being anything less. Did he say something just now? She got lost in her own world while gazing at him. His moving lips broke the spell. She and Nazuna were too far away for his voice to reach. What did he say just now? I don't know. Ah! The moment she met Arahitogami's eyes again, the twinge in her forearm returned. It's back. The vine which she severed earlier had sprouted anew and was coiling around her wrist. For some reason, the sight of it didn't scare her anymore. Aoi's daydream faded as quickly as it came over her. Being afflicted, her memories often blurred with the here and now. Warm dusk light poured in through the paper doors, dimly illuminating her room. What an odd recollection to have gotten lost in. Her first festival, the only time she'd seen Arahitogami. Did her eyes really meet that day? Aoi's memories reassured her they had, but her logic demurred. In all time she had gone back to the shrine since, she'd never seen him again. I can't see very clearly today. It was harder than usual to see out of her right eye. Not a good sign. There are even more shoots growing out this evening. How much longer would the rest of her body remain unsullied? Aoi pondered as she gazed emptily up at the ceiling. They always flourish the most when festival time comes around. Soon it would be the anniversary of the day she'd gotten to her first festival, when she first gotten to see Arahitogami. Her future had been so bright. How long will I have left after the festival? Festivities were due to commence the day after next. While her body and soul were being slowly consumed in line with the village's bitter destiny. Why me? Why was the great mistletoe progressing in her with such veracity? Neither mom nor dad had it this badly when they were my age. Something bothers her more than that, however. I haven't heard a word from Nazuna. He was in the city studying medicine. I wish I was there too. Aoi gently brushed the plants that were obscuring her vision. They were plainly a mark of the god's rage. Why? She knew it was simply her lot in life. She understood that, she did. Still. I don't want to be returned to the mountains. Aoi bit back another sigh. I'm scared. She loathed her situation. She wasn't ready to die yet. There was so much she still wanted to do, and she had a promise to keep. The sound of the train's whistle echoed in her mind. She saw Nazuna's profile growing smaller on that train whenever she closed her eyes. That was the moment she realized he'd grown up and her heart had swelled with embarrassment, sorrow, and an indefinable emotion. Ugh. I don't want to die. Not yet. All the fear and unease she buried rose up inside her, threatening to strangle her. Just a few more. Actually, I think it's like a good setup for this game. I know this goes on for a little longer, and I don't think I'm up for it tonight. So, especially because I think it would push me to the 3-hour mark, and I really do not want to do that right now because I have stuff to do for the rest of the night. But yeah, that's a really good setup. This game is free, so if this intrigues you, I personally just really like ancient cursed Japanese town fiction. You see it in Seven Scarlet, which is a game I'm gonna be playing on Tuesdays at some point. You see it in what the fuck is that called? The horror anime. Anyway, I just like that shit. I think it's cool. So thank you so much for joining me for 3 different horror-based visual novels. This is more otome, but it has a creepy horror sense that I like. But yeah, when I do my like post stream recap, I'm gonna have all the different games like in the comments. The homies vibing in Irritate City, Spooky Fall Town, yeah. um, but yeah, so I'm gonna be listing all the Steam pages on Twitter. So if you want to like play these games for yourselves, I know we like did all the endings for Jester, but if you want to like enjoy it for yourself and like go down to different paths, I know there were some dialogue options I did not pick. You can do that. And there's also all that stuff for it gets so lonely here. But let's see who we're gonna raid. Next stream. Next stream is gonna be Monday, and I'm doing all of the Sandman, which if there's like 2 different games called the Sandman, but it's the game that's by the same creator as Crooked Man. Crooked Man, Pedestal, which I have played on stream before, and Boogeyman, which I played last year on stream. So I'm playing the next in line with that creator stuff, and it's safe for me to stream, so I'm gonna do it myself. This will be fun. So that should be, it's either gonna be Monday or Sunday. I don't fucking know. I was originally gonna have a dentist appointment on Monday, but it was originally at like 1 o'clock. So I was like, okay, I'll get wrapped up. My mouth will probably be working and functional afterwards. And then they were like, hey, we need to push it back to like 4 o'clock. And I'm like, yo, I don't think I would be able to talk because I'm getting like a filling and shit. So I'm gonna have a numb mouth, and that won't be conductive for audio situations. So we'll call it by ear. If I get like home early on Sunday, I'm like going out this weekend. If I get home early on Sunday, I'll probably do it Sunday, just so I don't have to worry about like, hey, when can I talk again after getting a filling? We are gonna raid Vivica. Vivica is playing Resident Evil Village. So let's go say hi to Vivica. I think she's in the place with the giant tall lady. So I like giant tall lady. But thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you on Sunday or Monday. Who the fuck knows? But you'll see me next week regardless. Just over a week left until debut, guys. Oh my god, let's go.